All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic was on his podcast. He's reporting that Garrett Wilson, to his understanding, wants to re-up with the New York Jets, right? Sign that multi-year extension. The ballpark number is around $30 million annually. And I got to be 100% honest, $30 million a season, given where the cap is at, given where other wide receivers are getting paid, right? Looking at the overall market, yes, of course, it's a lot of money, but it's fair in this day and age. So if news comes out, right, the New York Jets re-up Garrett Wilson, 3 years, $90 million, 4 years, $120 million. I gotta say, I would be totally excited. The longer the Jets wait to do this, the more they're probably going to have to end up paying him. Look, even if it's just an extra $3 or $4 or $5 million, that money could be allocated in different players' contracts, in free agent negotiations. That could be a veteran player, like a late summer pickup, right? To try to fill in one of these team needs. What happens if a player gets hurt and the Jets have to, quickly pivot? They could flip that extra $3, $4, $5 million and go out and get like just a 1 year stopgap type of guy. Again, if some crazy injury were to happen. So the longer, right? The point is the longer the Jets wait, and this is kind of the Joe Douglas special here, just waiting and waiting and waiting for nothing. Like the Buffalo Bills are kind of like the anti-Joe Douglas, where it's like, hey, we know who we are. We know our evaluation process really, really well. We can look at a player, how he's performed with us, and project into the future. Okay, this is someone that we want to build around, even though he's not due up for a contract immediately, even though, it's not time to pay him. Let's just get the extension done. That's what they did with Josh Allen. That's what they did with Khalil Shakir just a couple of days ago here. Just sign these guys because the cap continues to go up. If you like the player wants to be here, and for a fact he's going to be here and you're going to hand out the contract eventually, just give it to him now. Just give it to him now. And of course, nothing is set in stone, right? This is, Rosenblatt said this, it's his understanding that Garrett wants to re-up. So it's not Garrett. He didn't go on Twitter and post that, or Instagram and post that, I want to be back with the New York Jets. This is just, according to Rosenblatt's report here, this is like what he's kind of getting at. This is kind of what his inkling is. You take a look at some of the highest paid wide receivers in football. Justin Jefferson is number 1 at $35 million a season. CeeDee Lamb number 2 at $34 million. AJ Brown number 3 at $32 million. And by the way, of course, all these are annually. Amon-Ra St. Brown at $30 million. Brandon Ayuk at $30 million, Tyreek Hill at $30 million, Jalen Waddle 28.2 and a half, Devontae Adams, right, $28 million for him, DJ Moore 27.5 for million. If DJ Moore is getting $27.5 million, Garrett Wilson is worth $30 million. With the absolutely inept coaching that Garrett Wilson has had to deal with the not so great quarterback play, with the not so great offensive line play, the 3 back-to-back 1,000+ yard receiving seasons, not to mention there's really not another dynamic threat at the wide receiver position that the Jets have, assuming Adams gets cut. But even if Adams was here, I would still look for Garrett Wilson to be the number 1 option in this offense. And we have to face facts. Lazard's probably going to get released too. So the Jets wide receiving room right now is completely, well, I shouldn't say right now, but forecasting 3 weeks from now, it is barren. It is, I would say, desolate. Corley, Gibson, Garrett Wilson. If Garrett Wilson is unhappy, Garrett Wilson requests a trade, and the Jets part ways with him, along with Lazard and Devontae Adams, we are going to have a massive issue at the wide receiver position. So again, if that's what it takes, if $30 million a season for Garrett Wilson is what it takes, I would give that to him. And I know it's a lot of money, but geez, like, what's the hope? To try to re-sign, nickel and dime Garrett Wilson? We got to get him under contract for $21 million, $22 million a season. It's just not the world that we're living in. If Garrett Wilson was on the trade block right now, multiple teams would be ringing Darren Mucci's phone off the hook. That's just the bottom line. He would be coveted. And of course, Garrett Wilson, it's not like the extension kicks in this season. It's an extension, right? So you still have flexibility to kind of build around that moving forward. So if that's what it takes, I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done. Now, of course, kind of the big the big wild card in this whole mix, or maybe not wild card, but domino here. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, obviously an elite wide receiver. There's talks that he could potentially get $40 million a year. Ideally, if I'm the New York Jets, get Garrett Wilson's contract done before Jamar Chase's, because as soon as Jamar Chase comes out with that big number, which for a fact he's going to get by the Bengals, they've made it clear like they want Jamar Chase and he will be rewarded, I believe was the exact word that they used. Agents are going to ask for more. They're going to point to the cap continuing to go up. And I don't want to use the phrase reset the market, but, in a sense, once that Jamar Chase contract comes out, that's going to be kind of the pillar or the shining light that all agents and wide receivers are going to point to. Like, hey, I want something similar to that. Because again, even if Garrett Wilson says, say for example, if Chase signs that deal right in 2 days, Garrett Wilson can now come to the table and say, you know what, I want $33 million a season. Even though it's not a big jump just in that given season, like individually, but strung together, over 4 seasons, that's an extra, 12, 16 million that you got to tack on. It goes from like a 4-year 120 to a 4-year 136. Like that's kind of the game that you play with timing of this whole thing, right? Timing on extending your own players. It's better to get out in front. Again, if the player wants to be here, the team wants the player, and you kind of know, okay, these two, he's going to be here. So get it done. That's just my suggestion. That's my opinion. I mean, for some people, $30 million for Garrett Wilson might be too much, and that's totally fair. Completely fair, right? To have individual opinions on the matter. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much, and as always, go Jets.